Hello and welcome to Lately Fashionable. I am Chelsea Souter and I am still working towards my year of sewing vintage, which will start in March. And in the meantime, I am in need of a new winter coat. This is my current winter coat. I have worn it now for 4 winters. I got it originally at a yard sale for like $5 or $10, something outrageous, and I really love it, and I have worn it almost every day in the winter since then. But I do need a new coat. There's a few reasons why, which I'll get into. First, I want to tell you why I love this coat. First of all, the color. Blue is my favorite color, and this cobalt blue is one of my absolute favorite shades of blue. Secondly, it is wool, so it's nice and warm, and it's really well made. It's got some fun detail stitching on the collar and on the pocket welts. Third, it's double-breasted, which I always appreciate, just an extra detail that makes me happy, which is also convenient for fluctuating size because I can just move buttons over and there's more space to do so than if it were a single-breasted coat. So that's my current coat. I love it. I wear it all the time, but it has a couple of problems which I need to address. It's a beautiful coat and I love it a lot, but the lining desperately needs to be replaced. The sleeve seams keep popping, and now the actual fabric is starting to fail. You can also see some discoloration here at the shoulders. Also, the right side pocket, the lining is shredding, and so every time I put my hand in here, my finger gets stuck in that hole. Now, part of my problems with the sleeves, I think, is that this coat is actually just too snug on me at this point. It fit really great 4 years ago, but I have changed to size since then. There is a little pleat in the back of the lining, but it's just not quite enough to account for my shoulders when I need to stretch my arms. So that's part of why the sleeve seams keep popping. But also the fabric is just old and tired. Now I could just replace the lining and have my coat back, but while I'm doing that, I'm also going to need a coat to wear. So I'm going to make a new coat and then wear that while I'm working on replacing the lining on this coat. But the other thing about this blue one is that it is not really a vintage cut. It's quite modern. And I'm going to want a vintage style coat for my year of dressing vintage. This is my fabric, and this is my pattern. Now, it is actually a pattern for a dress, not a coat. This button closure at the front is actually just decorative, and it has a side zipper. You can barely see here. But I want it to be an actual coat that opens in the front, down the center front, so I'm going to have to figure out something creative for the buttonholes, maybe like a frog closure. But of course, one of the things I really love about this pattern is the dramatic collar. My original plan was to use this red wool for the inner collar, which is the contrast. It perfectly matches the red in the plaid stripe, and this is the wool that I plan to use for my red wool winter dress, which I haven't made yet. But then I remembered I have red velvet. Now I only have a 13-inch wide full width of the, let's see, salvage to salvage, I think it's 45 inches wide, remnant of velvet, and it is just barely going to be enough to get one of each of the pieces. Well, 2 of the fronts and 1 of the back. But the pattern calls for 4 front pieces and 2 back, so what I'm going to do is actually use this wool for one side of the inner collar. So the wool will be the part that is covered by the outer fabric, and then the velvet will be the side that is inside and will touch my neck and my face and will feel so nice and just be really, really beautiful. And I'm probably also going to lengthen the sleeves and make it a full coat length sleeve because I do intend to use it as a winter coat and I want to be as warm as possible. Now, I recently went shopping at Fabric Hut in Norfolk, Virginia, and got some beautiful red satin lining fabric for my coat. And while I was there, I went ahead and picked up blue satin lining for my blue coat. Oh, and I also got buttons. I couldn't decide in the store if I wanted black or red, so I just went ahead and got them both because they were $1 each for all of the buttons, and that's a really good price. Let's just compare. I really like the three-dimensional design of the black one, but the red one is nice and bright and is probably going to be the winner. Put your vote in the comments. Now, I have never used this pattern before. It is a Vogue pattern, and Vogue patterns intimidate me. I mostly use Simplicity, Butterick, and McCall's, so this is stepping outside my comfort zone. And I'm definitely going to want to make a mock-up first, because of course I have finite fabric, and it's a big plaid that I will want to pattern match, and that will take very careful cutting, and I won't have any room for error. High stakes, I know. Okay, I've realized a couple of things. First, I can just cut out my lining and use that as a mock-up. I don't know why that didn't occur to me in the first place. I don't need to make a separate mock-up. I can just use the lining. And if I mess up, I can very easily get more of the lining fabric, which is not true of the wool. I don't even know where I got it in the first place. And the other thing I've realized is that it's forecast to snow overnight Friday night and still be cold enough Saturday morning that the snow won't melt immediately, which means Saturday morning should have perfect conditions for getting pictures in the snow, and I really want to make this coat and have it ready to wear in the snow on Saturday morning, which means it needs to be finished before I go to bed Friday night. It's Wednesday, and it is 10 p.m., so, yeah, I'm going to be sewing all day tomorrow, all day Friday, to try to get this done. I think it should be possible. I've had a quick read through the instructions, and it seems fairly straightforward for a Vogue pattern, and I'm excited. I'm also really cold. As you can see, I've put a sweatshirt on over my sweater, over my blouse. We were gone for 4 days over New Year's, so before we left, I turned down the heat in my sewing studio so that I wouldn't be wasting energy, and it has not gotten warm again since I got back. It is very cold outside, though. It did actually snow on Sunday night, and then again Monday night, so my kids didn't have school Monday or Tuesday. It was supposed to be their first days back, and they had snow days for the first time in their little lives. But I should really stop babbling and start cutting out. I've already prepped all my pieces. I cut them apart and put aside the ones I don't need, and then I ironed these pieces nice and flat so that they will cut everything out very accurately. And good news is I shouldn't need to iron my lining fabric because it was on a roll, not a bolt, so it doesn't have a giant crease down the center. And should be ready to go. Slightly annoying, but I have fully 2 yards more of the lining fabric than I actually need. But I was going off of what the pattern said to get for the regular fabric, and because it's a dress, not a coat, it's actually not lined, so the pattern doesn't have yardage guidance for the lining. Oh well. This does bode well for cutting out the actual coat, though, because I will need to match plaids, and I'm going to need to add a full front facing, because this will be the center front, and it's going to open in the skirt, and I'm going to want a nice wide facing down the front there. But I guess I just have 2 extra yards of cherry red polyester satin lining for no reason. Oh well. Okay, I got the lining cut out last night, and now I'm ready to sew it together and try it on. And yes, I am wearing a scarf and mitts inside because it is still, well, it's cold in here again. I turned the heat down overnight because I wasn't in here. So I'm waiting for it to warm up. It is still below freezing outside, so might be a while. Now I did have to adjust the pattern because the one that I have only goes up to a size 14. And according to the measurements, which I took yesterday over the bulky sweater I was wearing, I need a size 20 for a coat. If I were making it as a dress, I could probably get away with a size 16, possibly 18, but because I am going to wear it as a coat, and also because the wool is thick and needs extra seam allowance to account for that, I cut all my pieces larger. I'm hoping accurately. So here's what I did. I basically used the grading of the sizes that are included in the pattern to extrapolate how much wider I would need to make things for the size that I'm cutting. I didn't add too much at the shoulder because I don't think I need it there. I need it more at the waist, at the bust, and at the hips. Okay, I have a lining, and it roughly fits. It is supposed to just meet at center front. It's not supposed to overlap, but I think I am going to give myself even more space in cutting out the wool. And I can just extend the front, and I won't need to worry about the lining because it's going to have a facing all the way down the center front. So here's how she's looking. We've got the darts at the collar. Vogue patterns have so many bizarre and potentially superfluous darts. I need to show you the back. Let me get my tripod. Like, these back darts are not necessary. They look cool, but I mean, anyway, it's gonna work. I do need to sew at least one of the sleeves together and try it on and make sure it's going to be long enough and decide if I still want to do the cuff thing, which I'll show you. So when I cut out the sleeves, I wanted to extend them because I didn't want this 3/4 length. I want it to be long and cover to my wrists so that I can be warm. So I took the sleeve pattern piece for the jacket from this pattern and compared it to get the length that I wanted. And I found that this piece was about 5 inches longer than this one. So when I was cutting out, first I added up at the top for grading up to the larger size. Then at the lengthen or shorten line, I drew a chalk line, measured down 5 inches, moved the pattern piece down, and then cut the bottom from there. Also extending it a little bit at the bottom. And the sleeve is in 2 pieces, by the way. So I'm going to sew one of them together and attach it to the arm side of my lining. Try it on and decide if I still want to do that little bell-shaped cuff at the bottom. Okay, sleeve is on. I do think I like the bell. I think it's very cute. I think overall the length is good. Might need to come up a smidge, although the pattern does call for shoulder pads, and so I might just put those in and that will raise up the sleeve like that a little bit. So that should be fine. I think it fits well. I think I've got fairly good range of motion. I think that will do. Okay, so now I can use the other sleeve pieces that are not sewn together as the pattern to cut out the actual wool sleeves. Oh, I'm gonna have fun pattern matching this seam. Okay, slight change of plans. I had wanted to use the red gabardine wool for the outer side of the red velvet removable collar, but I wanted to make sure I would still have enough fabric to make the dress, because the dress is more important. So I laid out all of the pattern pieces for the dress on my fabric, and I just barely have enough to make the dress. It's going to work. I had to put the sleeve on the cross grain, but it should still work. I think it will be fine because it's a solid fabric. It's not a directional print or anything. And I did try. I don't have enough to get two of the collar piece here, and there's not enough space for one here, so I am instead going to use my leftover red polyester lining because I have tons of it. I'm not looking forward to this. Velvet, of course, is always a pain to sew, but I do think it's going to be particularly difficult to sew against the satin, because satin, being slippery, will just slip around on the other side of the velvet, and I was really hoping that with the wool it would kind of hold it in place a little bit better. But that was not to be, so we persevere. But that's kind of good news in a way, because that means I don't actually need to cut out the red dress right now. I was going to cut out the red dress and the collar underside pieces at the same time. It turns out the pattern for the red dress I only have up to a size 12, and that's not going to be big enough, which is why the blue dress that I made from that pattern doesn't fit anymore, even though I clearly graded it up to a 14. So I'm going to have to be very careful when I cut that one out that I add more width and make it big enough to fit me. So I don't want to be stressing about that right now. I want to just go ahead and cut out the coat. Okay, because I am obsessive about pattern matching, I'm actually going to cut this out single layer, which is annoying, but the plaid, it doesn't mirror perfectly edge to edge, so if I cut anything out along the fold, it will not be centered on the pattern. And that's important to me, so I'm going to do it right. Ah. And I should really iron the fabric. I did check that my plaid was the same in both directions before turning some of the pieces around to get the best use of my fabric. This is not possible with all plaids. Thankfully, mine was symmetrical in both directions. Okay, pattern matching this plaid is going to drive me crazy. It's not the plaid's fault, it's the pattern, because all of these weird darts at the waist are going to really mess things up. So I've decided the best thing to do is to make sure the waistline is on a red line. And these circles are going to match up. So that's the waist and the back. This is the side front. And that needs to match the circle here on the front, which is probably going to throw off the plaid in the skirt. So that'll be fun. Okay, I'm terrified, but I'm just gonna cut it out. Wish me luck. So this feels wildly irresponsible to be cutting this far in from the edge when I have all of this space, but I really want to center this red stripe down the back of this back underlay piece. This is the fold, so that's going to be mirrored. I'm going to do it, but it's hurting my brain because I could center this black stripe and fit this whole thing over closer to the selvage edge. But I really want the red down the center of the back. It's just this little kick pleat that's going to show, and I'm also cutting this far down from this cut edge because I have lined up this match point with the corresponding match point on the back skirt. Let me show you. That's this point here. It's going to line up all the way down to the hem on that seam. It's going to look great It is just so hard for me to not make the absolute best use of my fabric at all times, but I'm matching plaid and sacrifices have to be made. And also, I have so much fabric left. It's hanging off the table on that side, and I just need to get the sleeves. The sleeves are the only thing I have left to cut out after this piece. So it's gonna be fine. I have so much fabric, I can do it. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Good morning. It is crunch time. I have just the hours while my kids are in school today to finish this coat. And I suppose after they go to bed, if I really want to burn the midnight oil, which I usually do, so. I still have to cut out the sleeves and the removable collar, although I might wait on that because if I just get the coat itself done without the collar, I can still do my photo shoot and it'll be fine. I also have been eyeing this bolt, I guess I would call it, of black velvet that's been sitting on my fabric shelf for a couple years now, and seriously considering making a second removable collar in black velvet, because why not? I could have a red one and a black one and switch them out, and that's too much fun. But let's make the coat first. Everything else can wait. I used the pieces from the sleeve lining that I had not sewn up yet to cut out the wool sleeves, referring to the original pattern pieces for the grain lines and the match points. I very much wanted the plaid to line up along that long seam that will run down the outside of my arm. It was at this point that I made two choices that added significantly more time to this project. The first was using tailor's tacks to mark the darts on my wool, and there are a lot of darts in this coat. Whenever I remove basting or gathering stitches from a garment I'm sewing, I keep them for later use, and tailor's tacks are a very good use for them. Tailor's tacks take more time than transferring the marks with chalk pencil or fabric marker, and that time adds up quickly when there are darts in every pattern piece. But they are more accurate, don't rub off, and are easier to see on all of the colors of the plaid. The second choice that slowed me down was overlocking all of the raw edges. This fabric frayed so much more easily than I had expected, and I did not want to be fighting it while I sewed. So I overlocked every single edge. This took a while. So I'm tired, and I really want to go take a nap. I don't think I'm going to get this coat done today because my children will be home from school in about an hour and a half. which is not enough time to construct the coat and put the lining in and finish it, even if I were to push myself through my tiredness and sleepiness, which I don't think is a good idea because that's how you make mistakes. And I want to have a really good finished product. It is more important to me to have a coat that I absolutely love and have no issues with than to get it done today so I can take pictures in the snow tomorrow. So I'm gonna go take a nap. Maybe I can wear something else for my snow pictures. I'll find something. It'll be fine. And the coat will get done when the coat gets done. This did push me to get it done sooner than I would otherwise, so I'm still calling it a win. It's just a different kind of win. It's fine. It's gonna be good. I'm still gonna get a coat, just not before it snows. Okay, time for a nap. Okay, I'm feeling better. I had my nap, and when my kids got home, we made banana bread. My son has been asking for banana bread for a few days now, and I said he could help me, and then his sister wanted to help too, and we had a good time. It was a nice, chill, relaxing, non-stressful afternoon, which I needed. Okay, back to work. We did get our promised snow overnight, and I did not finish the coat in time. But I did choose an outfit from my historical costume closet, and I had a lot of fun taking pictures and video in the snow anyway. I have a full video of my Edwardian romp through the snow if you would like to see it. And then I had a snowball fight with my son before it all melted away. Hi there, future Chelsea here, coming in from editing mode. So I still got pretty snow pictures, just not of this coat, and that's okay. There will be other winters, there will be other snows, I am sure. And I am actually going to end this video here and pick up in a part 2 with actually constructing the coat. But I think it will be worth it in the end to take you on the entire journey of making this coat along with me. I hope you enjoy, and I will see you next time. Bye. The glare on my screen is really hard to see. Hair on my tongue. Gross. I am not looking for this. We weren't gone for 5 days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Starting over.